All right. Good morning, good night, and good evening, my motherfucking royals. It's actually 1:11 as I'm starting to record this, and as you can see, I just got out the shower. But today I wanted to talk about. I want to talk more about energy. I wanted to talk about energy and food, which also kind of, I guess, ties into some witchcraft, as well as energy harvesting, which we kind of talked about that already. Appearance, imagination, and tattoos. So it's all over the place. So first and foremost, y'all know I have been trying to teach y'all a little bit. For some of you, the ones that are already tapped in to the spiritual world and all this, you probably already know most of this stuff. But like I said, there's a lot of people watching that might not have had this information right because the world kind of makes it seem like none of this shit is real, none of this shit exists. And so first we're going to talk about, we already talked about how each and every one of you has a unique energetic signature, 111 as I'm saying that. Everybody has energy that physically extends beyond what you see, right? Beyond your physical body, you have energy around you, right? And so what I really wanted to talk about particularly is energy and food, right? No matter what you do, your energy is going to be left somewhere, right? So if you pick up this remote and flip the channel, your energy is going to be on this remote. If you touch something, right, it's always going to be there, right? And once you get more in tune with actually like what you can do with energy, you'll start doing little things. Like for instance, I always leave a bottle of water or multiple bottles of water like in my room or like around places because I know that they're going to absorb energy. So if I leave and I come back and I grab my water bottle, A, if somebody tried to change the water so that I couldn't see their energy, I would know it. And B, I can see all of the energy that's been there, right? And so when you are in whatever mood you're in and you are making someone's food, all of your energy, 222 as I'm saying that, is transferring into that food. And so you see it all the time, especially in the restaurant industry where people are just in the worst moods, and all the time I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn, all that energy is going into the food, right? And so you think about it, let's take my job for instance, right? You know, you get the food, you have your person that's on the table, they're making it, and then it gets passed off again, and then it gets passed off again. So now 3 people have had their energy on that food, and each one of those individual energies is going to have an effect to whoever is eating that food, right? And so y'all know me, like y'all should always, always, always be trying to make everything with love when it comes to food. That's just you know, that's just like a given. But you know, people that are in tune like me, like if I order food from a restaurant and I get it, I can tell if it was made with love or not, right? You can tell if somebody was making your food and they actually cared about their job, if they were in a good mood, like all of this stuff, right? And that's the same even with eating food, 333. Like that's why you see such a huge push for like cage free, like all that kind of stuff as well, because the trauma that all the animals endure, all of that stays in it, right? And so if you had we'll say like chickens or cows or something that were farmed in captivity, and you know all this traumatic stuff happened to them, and you eat that, you are going to be feeling all of that, right? And so that's something that you always should be like wary of, is how your energy is affecting other people, right? And so always, if you're making food and you're in a bad mood, just know that every single drop of that energy is going into the food that you're preparing. And so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, particularly with food, is witchcraft. And it's because I was meditating and God was like, Jordan, you remember the video you were talking about witchcraft and food? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, maybe you should talk about it again, 444. And so, especially to the guys out there, but this is used by women on women too. This is something to be wary of. Is obviously I shouldn't have to tell y'all, if you did not physically see someone preparing your food, there's obviously like, right, a lot of questions, like anything could happen. Now, when it comes to witchcraft, right, if you look at the whole process of cooking, like you just look at it like it's nothing, right? But what are you doing? You are taking ingredients and you are putting them through a transformational process. You are basically using alchemy, right? And that with the intention is very powerful. And so one of the things to look out for, men especially, because of, you'll see. And so one thing that is a very, very powerful like love spell, like love magic, that women will do is I'm not saying that all women do this either, and I'm not saying, like, y'all know 555, y'all know what I'm talking about. But a very, very powerful like love spell, magic, whatever, is for women to take their menstrual blood and then mix it into the food that they're making, and then they feed it to a person. And that is like one of the, like, that is a very, very strong magic. It is a very potent magic. And some of y'all are gonna like hear it and be like, oh my God, that's disgusting. No, y'all are gonna be like, no, people don't really do that. People fucking do it. People do it. And so I always say, like, be weary if there's a crazy chick and you're going over her house and she just made you spaghetti and you didn't see it. Like, I don't know. I usually like, y'all know me, or maybe you don't know me, but I'm picky about food anyway. I rarely, besides if I'm going to like a restaurant, I rarely trust anything that anybody made unless I physically had my own eyes on it. So generally, if I didn't see the process, with certain exceptions, I'll go. But that's just something to look out for, right? The other thing is, people will literally, like I just said, they will make you something to eat. They will make you food, and they will be sitting there like letting all of this like hatred and negative emotion and shit like fester and like go into the food, and then they bring it to you as a gift and you eat it, and now all of a sudden you feel like complete shit and you don't know why. It's because they'll put like hexes and all that sorts of shit on the food. Particularly when I was living with my friend last year, there was a lady, like as soon as I saw her, I was like, she's a witch. And that's something that I do. Like, I just see people and instantly I can tell, like, oh, that's a witch, that's a vampire, like shit like that. And so I knew that this lady was like an evil witch to begin with. And she fucking had brought over some watermelon for the kids, for like everybody, and immediately Source was like, Jordan, like, don't trust that food. And I was like, all right. And so I actually took it while she was actually watching me do this too. I actually took it and I lit a candle, and I actually pulled all the negative energy out of the food before I let anybody eat it. And it's funny because like dark witches and shit like that, like whenever you notice something that they're doing that was designed to like take you off, like catch you off guard or something like that, they'll always be like their eyes will always open wide, like he knows, or like she knows, like. So be wary. Y'all could always just also just as a habit, whenever people give you food, just do like a little prayer, like all that kind of stuff, just to be safe. It's all about safety, right? And so then we talked about this is going to be for the people that have very powerful energy, the people that your energy really carries like a lot of weight, right? So we're going to be talking to people that have cultivated their energy to the point where I don't want to say like being magnetic comes to mind, but you know what I'm talking about, and this goes for like a lot of celebrities and shit like that too, is the people that are tuned in, a lot of times like covens and shit like that, they're going to see you, right? They can see you for who you are. They might try to act like they don't know who you are, but they know who you are on a spiritual level. And then what they'll start trying to do is get in your energy and good graces so that they can start using, like, siphoning from your energy so that they can use that power to manifest things that they want. And that was happening a lot in the army that I saw, right? This was before at first I had awakened, right? Is that I would notice that, like, all of them are, like, getting all these nice things and, like, all this shit, and, like, meanwhile 10-10, like, my life sucks, but everybody's flourishing around me. It's because they were all siphoning my energy to use for them, right? And so after I awakened to that, I pretty much, recalled all my energy back. And that's something that you can do. It's something that I do for anything. Because your energy, like I said, stays. If you wear a shirt and you take that shirt off, you're going to have your energy. And like what people will like to do is they'll try to get your articles of clothing so that they can try and do black magic on you because it has your energetic signature, or even they'll like try to like go and like hold it close to them so that they can try and absorb their energy. For me personally, anytime I leave a location, I always, I'm like, I recall any and all energy that I left at this location. Like, it's like that type of shit, right? And then really, nobody is going to be able to take your energy without like some sort of consent, right? Even if you're like, Jordan, no, I didn't consent to, I'm telling you, even if it's like a little subconscious or like you having a feeling about something, like you could be giving up your energy. For instance, all these people like here more recently, like all these people thought that they were taking my energy, like all this stuff, like bumping into me, touching me, they thought that they were stealing it. No, I was giving it to you. And when you pull back your energy and you maintain that energy, these people are going to notice a difference immediately. I know people have felt the difference because I'm not giving any of my energy away. No, my energy is staying right with me. And so I've talked a lot about energy and, all of this stuff, but let's talk about how you can try to protect your energy. So one of the ways that I think of 12-12 when I first started getting into spiritual work is I would picture a flame. Like I would close my eyes and I would picture a flame. This flame could be literally from the size of a candle to a whole fire, but that's not the point. The point is that when you close your eyes, you're going to think of something that's going to manifest as your energy, right? Some sort of symbol, some sort of water, fire, like something that is going to basically, like when you're closing your eyes, you're like, okay, this is my energy. And then what I want you to do is try to envision either a sphere, or what I do personally is I picture like a giant box, like almost like a cage, but like a glass box around it. And so no matter how intensely the fire is burning inside, all of my energy is going to stay with me, right? And so that's one of the ways that you can try, and at least for me, that's one way that you could try, maybe 1313, to start trying to keep your energy like in, and like start practicing getting more of like familiarity with your own energy, right? And so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, I guess this is going to go into, because I said I didn't mention this, but karma that you don't deserve. This is going to go into the energy harvesting. So if you're letting people take your energy, right, and people are supposed to be facing God's judgment, because you're letting them take your energy or because you are protecting them, they are not going to face the judgment. And ultimately what ends up happening is you could be facing karma that you don't even deserve because you're trying to protect people. So it's like God's like, all right, this person did you wrong. I'm trying to punish them, but you're protecting them. So now you're going to get a piece of that too. Like, you want to stand in my way. Okay, 14, you're gonna face that as well, right? And so, if you're somebody and like God has been telling you like, oh, this is going to happen, X, Y, and Z is going to happen, a lot of times you'll be stuck up in a situation because you physically are refusing to let the judgment happen. Like, Do not deal with anybody's karma that's not your own. Do not deal with anybody's judgment that's not your own. Like, that's not you, right? And so next thing that I wanted to talk about was imagination. Imagination, right? How many of y'all sit in your head all day and think about random stupid shit? Like, it could be from like scenarios, that's what I want to say. How many of y'all just come up with useless scenarios all day in your head? All you're thinking about is like negative shit happening, or like, you know, arguing with people or fighting with people. You are wasting your creation space. So 1515, as I was going up to say that, your imagination, your la la land that everyone and their mom, right, when you're growing up is trying to get you out of, right, what the school system tries to indoctrinate out of you, your imagination, that's actually your creation space. And so I want you to imagine for a second that this is The Sims, right? And what happens in The Sims, right? When your person is hungry, a little pizza thing or something, like a little food icon pops up above their head. If they are wanting to meet someone new, right? If they want a human connection, then a little face appears, right? 1555. And so, what y'all don't realize is that your imagination, the stuff that you think about, that is like how you communicate and tell God what you want. That is your creation space. And so, your imagination should usually only be filled with what? 1616. Your greatest dreams, your greatest desires, and things that you love. Because ultimately, that is the frequency that y'all are putting out. A lot of times I will be in autopilot at work, and y'all will notice it because y'all will be like, oh, Jordan didn't hear me, or Jordan's ignoring me. No, I'm on autopilot because I'm trying to manifest the world that I want, right? I'm trying to manifest exactly what I want. And so if you are constantly thinking about negative things, you're going to be pulling that to you. The universe doesn't care, right, about negatives and stuff like that, right? So I'll use this example, right? I had a car and I could feel like it was going to break down. And so I just kept saying over and over, like, don't break down, don't break down, don't break down, don't break down. But in reality, the frequency that I'm putting out while I'm thinking that is car breakdown, car breakdown, car breakdown. That's all the universe is going to be hearing from you. Even though you don't want your car to break down, 1717, that's all the universe is hearing is car breakdown, car breakdown. So you should only be thinking like the most positive, the most love, like the highest goals and aspirations, right? And so, yeah, if you're somebody that lives off in La La Land, you do you. Keep manifesting good, right? And so next we're going to get into appearance. Next, we're going to get into appearance. God damn, that ringing was intense. And so a lot of times people are unhappy with the way they look, right? For me, for instance, I absolutely hated the way that I looked for the longest time. And I always thought I was ugly, right? And so I know people are going to be like, you're not ugly. I'm not fishing for compliments. Don't start commenting and be like, no, your hand, no, that's not what I wanted, right? And so I always would sit there and I would be like, you know, I don't look the best, but like, it's not like the worst, right? And so, you look around, right? You look in the media and you look all over the place, and they try to promote these people that look perfect, right? They have perfectly symmetrical faces, like all of this stuff. And then people try to go and they try to get plastic surgery. They all try to alter their appearance, right? And I had told y'all that looking in the mirror was your greatest, like one of the biggest lies that you could tell yourself, because you're not actually looking at your face. You're looking at a reflection of it. You're looking at the opposite of your face. And so the first time that I had actually like taken a picture and looked at my face, it was completely mind-shattering. It had completely destroyed my ego, I guess you would say. I had a whole reality crisis. What is it called? An identity crisis, because I was like, damn. I was like, my entire life, I thought that I looked good, right? My entire life, I thought that I looked X, Y, and Z. But now it makes sense. Now it makes sense why none of the girls like me and shit, because I'm fucking ugly, right? I'm not, that's not how I feel. That's just what I was saying, right? And so, then like fast forward, and I'm doing all this meditation, and I finally get to see like the face of God, right? And then I'm like, oh shit. Now it makes sense. We're all created in his image. God is not perfect. God is imperfectly perfect, right? And so that means with all of us being created in his image, we are all going to be imperfect. But in that imperfection, know that you are perfect. And so the next thing that I wanted to say is each and every one of you, what do they say, right? You can pick your friends, but they can't pick your family. Well, I just want you to know that all of your souls pick your family before you come down. So that means how you look is your own doing. I'm going to say that again. How you look is your own doing. Because as a soul, you looked at your parents and you were like, yep, I'm going to go right in there. And you already know if you're a star seed, then you were looking, and you were most likely looking for the most fucked up families. You were looking for the families that had the most trauma, that had the most like demons afflicting them. You were looking for the families that with the bloodlines that you could heal. And not all star seeds go to, bloodlines that need to be healed and all of that stuff. But a lot of them do. So you chose exactly what you were going to look like before. So trying to, get plastic surgery and shit, while that might make you feel better temporarily, it's really not going to do anything for you on the soul level, because it's just superficial, right? If you feel like you're ugly on the outside and your insides are all out of whack, then you're always going to feel ugly. That's just the way it is. Like, you're always going to feel ugly unless you fix your insides, right? And so that's the other thing, is like, everybody is handsome, everybody is beautiful. You all look just like God, right? And so there should be no type of what is it called? Self-consciousness, even though I know, like I told y'all before, I was self-conscious, so I know how it is. But there should be no self-consciousness, because everybody should be walking around like, I look like God. Like, I look like God. Like, that is amazing, right? 22 as I'm saying that. Okay. And so, right, we can change little things. We can work out. We can get tattoos, which is actually what I wanted to talk about next, right? So, in the Bible, right, it says that you're not supposed to mark your body, but I just want you to know, each and every one of you, that is not factual. Nobody ever said that. That was just added to try to disconnect you all. And so tattoos hold very powerful spiritual significance. You've seen it all the way dating back to like the ancient Mayans, all the way up to present day, right? When certain cultures have certain tattoos that they do, meaning certain things, signifying certain things. And so the tattoos that you get have a very, very real impact. And it is also a form of magic, right? You are mixing an intention, what you want your tattoo to mean, do for you, whatever. You are mixing that, and then they are taking it, and as they're inking your body, that ink is mixing with your blood. That is magic right there. And so, people, you can get whatever the fuck you want. You can make dumb shit, you can get dumb shit that means absolutely nothing just because you think it's cool, or you can get shit that physically means something to your heart, but then there's other things you can do. For instance, I'm going to go through the Lorenzi tattoo. I got it. My last name is Lorenzi. I got it when I was young because members of my family all had the Lorenzi tattoo, right? I wanted it. I did not know when I got it that was actually a method of connecting me to all of my ancestors, right? And I didn't know that was that's what was going to happen when I got this tattoo, right? With these tattoos, obviously, I knew exactly what I was doing with these, but God told me specifically to go get these tattoos. I had already wanted the crosses. I wanted the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Ra, like that's my shit. If y'all know me, ancient Egypt, the pyramids, all that shit, that is my shit, right? And so obviously I was about to get that. And so I had specific intention before I went to go get the tattoo. First and foremost, I said, however the tattoo comes out, that is going to be perfect. It is supposed to represent yin and yang on my arm. Now, if you notice, on my right arm here, everything looks perfect. And I absolutely love my tattoos. So the person that did my tattoos, I fucking love the way that they came out. Right? And so if you look here, it's like, it looks perfect, right? It's perfectly symmetrical. Everything's good. And then if you come on this side, it's a little bit off, you know, and I absolutely love that because it was supposed to be all about balance. Was that planned? No. She just put the stamps on and that's how they came out. I fucking love them. I love how it came out. Now let's talk about intention, right? And so now I told God before I got my tattoos, I was like, I would like these tattoos, these ones, specifically my crosses, to help me, like to be able to give me signs and information. And so when I am around people, places, or if something is good for me, this one right here, my tattoo, will start itching. And I'm like, okay, like this must be a message from God, or like this is good for me. Like I can do this, right? And if I'm around somebody evil, if I'm around somebody that, or like an opportunity or something, or like something's like evil, like this will start going. For instance, one time I was in a supermarket and I'm walking around and all of a sudden this entire area just gets red as fuck and starts itching. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? And so I look around and in the corner, I see this evil ass fucking, excuse me. I see this evil ass looking motherfucker just mean mugging the fuck out of me all the way across the supermarket. And I was like, yeah, it's a motherfucking demon right there. And then, of course, we have my last tattoo, which my Taurus logo. I did do a tribal because I have had past lives where I was ancient Aztec. I think I already mentioned that to y'all, so I wanted to honor that. I'm also Native American. I have Native American in my blood, so I wanted to honor that with the tribal as well as the constellation Taurus that I came from, right? You know, that kind of shit. And so each tattoo that you have can help you level up and help you do things beyond, you know, what you might think more than just looking cool on your body. There is a spiritual significance, right? And that's why, like, the next tattoos that I get, y'all better believe those are about to be some, I don't even need to say anything else about that, but those are about to be some good tattoos, right? But yeah, so you can have those intentions and stuff like that when you're going to make a tattoo. It could literally be something small. It could literally be something small. But yeah, you can connect to past lives, you can connect to all sorts of stuff via tattoos. And that's just one of the ways that they try to get you out of finding your power, right? And so I talk about this all the time. We'll use the King James version of the Bible. That's the one that I grew up with most of my life, right? And so that Bible, right, King James was in control. So when he had that Bible translated, interpreted, whatever, for his people, he put things in there, or he left things out that he did or did not want his people, his followers, to do or understand or stuff like that, right? And so, like I said, the original Bible that everybody is supposed to follow, that Bible, I don't want to say it doesn't exist, because it does exist. The Vatican has it in the Vatican archives. But I can tell you a lot of the stuff that y'all are seeing in the Bible today, I don't want to say a lot, but but some of the stuff in there is actually bullshit. And like, because the devil knew, like, I can't destroy God's word, right? That wouldn't be allowed. 29:29. That the devil knew I cannot destroy God's word. But God was like, you know what? I'll let the devil add what he wants to it, because I have faith and I have confidence in my people that they will be able to decipher what is fact from what is fiction, right? And so God always usually lets the devil just do stupid shit, because he has faith in each and every one of you that you will be able to see the truth, that you will be able to do what you need to do, regardless of the trickery that is blatantly put right in front of your face. And that's just facts right there. Yeah, so so y'all freaking make sure that y'all are trying to keep up on y'all's energy protection. Make sure that y'all are trying to maybe, I don't know, work with energy a little bit more. Now that y'all are tapped into the world in which can't be seen, this is gonna be a lot of fun going on this journey, right? And for those of you that are like, where are all the tarot reading? I'm gonna put readings out as well, but the need for information was just a lot. The need for information was just a lot more important than just putting out the tarot readings. The other thing is that a lot of times, like when you're giving a reading or a message, it's for the collective, but it also applies to us. And there are things in the works right now that God does not want any of my enemies to know about. 31:31 as I'm saying that. And so that's another reason why I've been trying to hold off on doing readings as much. But I know a few people have asked me if I'm doing personal readings. I am doing readings right now. Like I said, I've had people reach out and God has told me no, that I can't do a reading for them. So if you reach out for a reading and God says, yes, I can do it for you, then yeah, I'll do it for you. I think in the next video, I think I'm going to talk about the chakras, and I think we're going to dive into the Claire abilities. I think that would be a good direction for us to travel. Also, for those of you that don't know anything about meditation, right? Meditation doesn't have to be perfect. When I first started meditating, I would literally lay down and I would put on meditation music or something like that, and I would always end up falling asleep, right? And so if you are playing a guided meditation, like Steve Nobel is the one that I always use, right? Your subconscious is still absorbing that even if you fall asleep. And that's why every single night I have a full 8-10 hour playlist of meditation videos to play while I'm sleeping, so that it can just be absorbed, right? And so all of the protections, all of that's going on in the meditation, you are still physically doing that even though you're asleep, right? And so even if you can't, because you don't have enough time, even if you don't have enough time during the daytime and you're just like, oh, I just can't meditate, but I want to, at the very least, you could play it while you're sleeping, and that's a step in the right direction, right? And so my mind is always all over the place, right? And a lot of times what you'll hear from people, 33, is they'll say that meditation is supposed to be quieting everything so that God can speak to you, right? Well, meditation is different for everybody because everybody is physically different. Nobody's the same. And so don't be discouraged when you're meditating, and your thoughts might be all over the place, this and that. I will say, for me personally, it helps me more to get into the space to drink tea before. Y'all might not know, but tea is a spiritual drink, and I'll drink tea and I'll go down for meditation, and Sometimes I meditate and I'm laser focused on what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I'll meditate and my mind will be all over the place. And sometimes I'll meditate and it will literally just be quiet, nothing going on in my mind, right? It physically doesn't matter. You will get there. If God has a message for you, you are going to receive the message. You are going to receive the message. You just have to be, looking, waiting, and ready for the message. Damn. And that's like this. I saw a video the other day, and this girl was like, it's hard to hear what God is saying if you already decided what you want him to say. And so sometimes God will be trying to tell you something, but you're like, no, I'm not listening to that because I've already decided in my mind this is what's going to be. So the art of detachment is very important when you are on the spiritual journey, on the spiritual, when you're trying to walk that path, being able to detach from the fact that, 35, being able to detach from yourself, right? Like we've already said this, the human that you are pretending to be right now is not factual. That does not exist, right? You are a soul. And so, oftentimes, right, when you're feeling certain types of ways, or if you do exist in a state of detachment, you might feel like something's wrong with you. Like, no, there's nothing wrong with you, bro. There's nothing wrong with you. Being able to detach, to take a step back and look at things from a higher perspective is the mark of a spiritual warrior. And so, I think that's all that I had planned for our session today. As always, I love you guys. And if y'all need anything, or if y'all want to see me talk about anything in particular, leave those comments, reach out, do whatever you got to do. Because I am vibing 24/7. I'm always vibing. Energy, food, witchcraft, energy harvesting, appearance, imagination, creation, karma. That's cash money shit right there. Yeah. Much love to everybody as always. And I hope y'all have a good day.